Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. In the previous sessions, we have followed the journey of human language. We have seen how words became the means through which people communicated, shared knowledge, and built societies. But from the earliest days of history, humanity faced a fundamental problem. How can knowledge be preserved? A spoken word lives only for a moment. Once it is spoken, it disappears. And when the speaker dies, much of what they knew can disappear with them. Human beings, therefore, needed a way to preserve words long after they had been spoken. That need gave birth to writing. Writing did not begin in the form we know today. The earliest humans painted images on the walls of caves. They drew animals, hunters, and tools. These were not writing in the true sense. They were attempting to preserve an idea or record an event. As civilizations developed, writing became more sophisticated. More than 5,000 years ago, in Mesopotamia, the Sumerians began using symbols to represent objects. Gradually, these drawings evolved into marks impressed on clay tablets. This became what we now call the cuneiform writing. In ancient Egypt, another writing system emerged: hieroglyphics. Using pictures and symbols, the Egyptians recorded history, recorded laws, religious texts, and scientific knowledge. These early systems, however, were extremely complex. To become literate, a person had to memorize hundreds or even thousands of different symbols. As a result, only a small number of people were able to read and write. Then came one of the greatest revolutions in human history. Someone discovered a remarkably simple idea. Instead of drawing objects, why not write the sounds of speech? Instead of thousands of symbols, a small set of letters could represent the basic sounds of a language. Those letters could then be combined to write any word. This was the birth of the alphabet. Many scholars believe that the earliest alphabetic writing emerged in the Sinai region. It was later developed by the Phoenicians, whose merchants spread alphabetic writing throughout much of the ancient world. From this tradition came many later alphabets. Among them were the Aramaic script, the Nabatean script, and eventually the Arabic script in which the Quran was written. Notice something remarkable. The history of writing is not the story of one nation, it is the story of humanity. Each generation added something new, then passed it on to the next. Through this cumulative process, knowledge grew and civilizations advanced. Yet, despite all this progress, writing itself remains only a tool. Its value depends entirely upon what is written. The same pen can record wisdom or falsehood, can record justice or oppression, truth or deception. Writing is not the goal, it is the means. When we reach the Quran, we encounter something extraordinary. The very first word revealed was read. Soon after, Allah swears an oath, Noon, by the pen and what they write. How meaningful this sequence is. The final revelation connects reading, writing, and knowledge from its very beginning. It is no coincidence that civilizations flourished through writing, and that the final divine message began with the command to read. Without writing, the knowledge of past civilizations or the history of humanity could not have been preserved. Writing became the memory of civilization. Today, we write on paper, on computer screens, on mobile devices, and many other devices. But the purpose remains unchanged, to preserve knowledge so it can pass from one generation to another. In summary, writing is humanity's greatest invention for preserving knowledge. It transformed civilization from one that depended on memory into one that could preserve learning across generations, making it possible to safeguard divine revelation and to build enduring civilization. Here is an important question from many people. If I do not speak Arabic, can an English translation fully convey the meaning of the Quran? Well, the answer requires careful balance. A good translation is an invaluable gift. It allows millions of people to read the message of the Quran, to learn from it, to reflect upon it, and to be guided by it. Without translations, many people would never have access to the Quran's teachings. At the same time, every translation has its limitations, because no two languages express ideas in exactly the same way. Each language has words, expressions, and shades of meaning that cannot always be captured by a single equivalent in another language. Arabic is no exception. Sometimes one Arabic word may require several English words to explain its full meaning. At other times, an English word may represent several different Arabic words, each carrying its own unique meaning. This is why different English translations sometimes choose different words while translating the same verse. Usually, this is not because one translator is right and another is wrong. Rather, each translator is attempting to capture a different aspect of the original Arabic. Think of standing before a magnificent mountain. One photographer captures the sunrise. Another captures the waterfall. A third photographs the snow covering the peak. Each image is accurate, yet none of them contains the entire landscape. Translation work in much the same way. Each helps us appreciate the original, but none can completely replace it. This should not discourage us. On the contrary, it should encourage us to read thoughtfully. When two reputable translations use different wording, it is often worthwhile to ask, what is the Arabic expression trying to convey? You go back to the origin. In this series, we shall occasionally compare English translations not to decide which is best, but to uncover the richness of the original Quranic expression. Our goal is always the same: to let the Quran explain itself as clearly as possible, and to appreciate the remarkable precision of its language. In our next session, we shall ask another important question. If translation differ, how can we avoid misunderstanding the Quran? We shall discover one of the most important principles of Quranic study. Always understand a verse in light of the whole Quran. Don't take it per itself alone. That is what we shall explore in our next session. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.